Hey everyone, it is Mr. Ludwin, and I thought I'd take a moment to show you a couple of quick tutorials for storyboard that might make your storyboards a little more interesting looking. Alright, the first one we're going to talk about is how to create a society hierarchy or a social structure, social pyramid, whatever you want to call it, one of those interesting little things that shows how a culture is organized. We're going to do it Avengers style. Okay, so here's my inspiration. I've got a little poster from the Avengers, and all I'm going to do is try to lay out the different people from the social hierarchy in that general shape. We're looking at ancient Rome, and so we'll start off at the top with the Emperor, where Iron Man is, and then we'll kind of work our way down and go from there. So feel free to try to keep up with this one as we work through it. And we'll just kind of go from there. All right, so for this guy, what we want to go ahead and do is just crop him down a little bit because we don't need to see the full body. And I think that's one of the things we always forget that we can do on here. And when we forget that, we end up with a very convoluted and messy organization. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and change his posture a little bit to kind of mimic what I think might be going on in the Iron Man's phase or the Iron Man positioning. Go through, change the color of the hair, go through, do all that stuff. And when we go through and I change the tunic, remember we're creating characters that we can use throughout the rest of our design or the rest of our storyboard. So we want to make sure we have character design that is unique and stands out. Now for the Emperor, that's easy because in ancient Rome, when it came to clothing, only the Emperor was allowed, in fact, to wear purple. Okay, that was a royal color, and it kind of works easy here for making him stand out. So I'm going to go back, make sure I don't cut his arm off. There we go. And we're just going to move him up to the top, make him a little larger than everybody else. Not too large, just a little bit. Kind of figure out where we want to position him on here. Like that's way too big. So let's go ahead and undo that. All right, and so then all we're going to do is kind of position him about where we think he should be. We'll probably end up moving him around as we go through it. And then let's go ahead and add in the rest of the characters. And if it's all right with you, I'm going to go ahead and speed things up in a second. All right, so that is how I did the little social hierarchy Avengers style. You can see it turned out a little different than the one I just finished because I was looking at it and it just didn't look as clean as I wanted it to be. So I went ahead and I added a shield in for the soldier, which gave it a little more epicness. And if that's not a word, it is now. And then we also changed the background a little bit to make it more cohesive and a little more comic book or actiony as far as everything goes, and really to help draw your eyes inwards towards everything that's going on in the center of the screen, kind of weight it there instead of just have it floating around with some messy stuff going on. So there you go. Hope that was helpful. And let's move on to the next one. So the next little step or trick I wanted to show you today was how to merge two backgrounds together using some advanced cropping techniques. Okay, and this is important when we go through and we look at different cultures and civilizations, or if we just look at the fact that some of these backgrounds are cool, but we don't want the whole thing there. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you want to do is pull up the backgrounds that you're thinking about using. So that's going to be the hardest part, is just kind of going back and forth and trying to figure out which ones you want to use. Since we're talking about ancient Rome, I've kind of found two that will work fairly nicely here for this. One is of this kind of medieval or English town, but we're not going to use the whole thing of it. We're just going to use a little part of it. And the other one is this kind of classical architecture building here. So the first thing I wanted to do was flip it and change the direction of it. And then I'll show you what else we're going to do after this. It took a little bit of tinkering around, but eventually we kind of figure it out. So you want to basically eyeball and go back and forth and decide where you would want the two to situate. And then it's just about cropping it. So if you go down to the bottom of the crop section, you'll see there's a thing that says standard crop. But if you click the drop down, you'll see you can just do advanced cropping, which is super helpful and will allow you to be more detailed with your cropping. It's advanced cropping. So then it's just a matter of getting all the area or most of the area that you want in the scene. Remember, you can always use some sort of blocking later on, whether it's with characters or objects, to kind of make the scene look more seamless and cohesive. Okay, and so there we go with that. That looks pretty good, I think. Now the easy part is just taking this one, sitting it right there, and sending it to the back. So now you have a little three-dimensional space you've created here for the Roman shanty up front, and then the classical building in the back. Okay, and yeah, the floors are two different colors, but we can totally get rid of that by blocking. So there you go. That's how you can easily merge it. You can change your scene night and day, depending on what you want to do. Nighttime, sometimes it merges the grounds a little bit better together, but it's harder to see, obviously. So you probably don't want to do that necessarily. But I decided to show you real quick what it looks like with the two options on. Oh, bummer. There's all these lighting effects we could have used. Oh, well. Okay. So yeah, that looks okay, but it could be better, right? All right, so let's just go ahead and change it back to day so we can see everything a little bit better. Maybe change the sky and make it a little nicer. And we could kind of leave this in a shadow if we wanted to give the illusion that there was a taller building sitting in front of it, but let's just go ahead and brighten it up for now. Okay, so for the last thing I want to show you real quick how to insert a flame and edit it and crop it so that way it looks like it's coming out of a building. And you just do the same thing with the advanced crop. Just copy and paste it and move it through there. And then you can do the same thing with people if you want to have some people running and fleeing in the town in terror, crying, or whatever you want to have them do. Just kind of fits people in here. Make sure you shrink them down so they're about the right size if they're running out of the doors. All right, and there you have it. That is some simple advanced cropping techniques for you to use and storyboard that. Have a great day, and don't forget to learn something. I'll see you guys tomorrow.